Welcome to the ACEVEDO video store. Today I'm with TheDarkBaby again.
Hi again.
Today we're going to review Ed Wood.
This fictionalized biopic of Ed Wood himself.
Yes, the most considered by many as the worst director to ever existed.
And me being number 2.
No, there's James Wynn, Birdemic and all that.
Okay.
So, no.
Okay, I'll be the 3rd worst director in America.
That sounds like a magazine headline. 3rd worst director in America. And it's directed by Tim Burton, and we're reviewing it for its 30th anniversary. So, for our knowledge of Ed Wood, how much do you know about Ed Wood before seeing this movie?
I actually got interested by Ed Wood a few years ago. I remember on YouTube, it was like the free movie to watch.
Yeah.
So when I first saw like the trailer and the clips, I was just like, wait, I like understand this guy's film philosophy of like point and shoot, one takes, no budget. So I was just like, oh my god, I totally connected to that philosophy of filmmaking. So I got interested and introduced by Ed Wood through YouTube.
Yeah.
What about you?
I say I got it through the same thing, mainly through the channel Cinemassacre and all that with James Rolfe, you know, the last movie review, the Angry Video Game Nerd and all that. And he's also like, this is like one of his favorite movies and all that. And he talks about it and also talks about like, I don't think he did like sole reviews of any of his movies aside from Plan 9 from Outer Space. But from there, I haven't seen this movie. Like, actually, this is like, for this review, this is my 3rd time watching it. Because I just seen it recently, like, earlier this year. But, like, I seen, like, Plan 9 from Outer Space. I saw it in color. And then I saw, like, the documentary about, like, the Plan 9 companion, and which is a pretty good documentary and all that. And finally, here's the one movie he wrote. We have 2 copies of it, but we have, like, one over here and all that. I think that's basically it of, like, Ed Wood knowledge and all that, and I did some like minor research for this like review, of course, and all that.
Yeah, I would say the story starts off with us following Ed Wood's film career from his first movie, Glenn or Glenda,
to his most notable work, Plan 9 from Outer Space. Yeah, so that's like the basic plot structure of the movie and all that. There's also like the making of like Bride and Monster that takes up like the whole second act of the film and all that. So, what do you think?
I loved it, and it seems that the Academy Awards agreed with it too, that they loved the movie. But I love movies that are show us movie making, and it was kind of like a love story to Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
It's like a love story to filmmaking and directors and old Hollywood. And I loved like how we're shooting right now. It was all in black and white, so I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. With the love story to Hollywood, it's more like love story to the little guy who wants to do it all and all that.
True. And like the like art student or the film student.
Yeah.
Right? What about you? What did you think?
I thought it was a pretty great movie and all that. I had high expectations for it and all that because like beforehand I only like seen clips of the movie. I never actually got around to seeing it and all that. And then when I first time got to see it earlier this year and all that, I was like, oh, that's pretty good. And watching it for this review, I was like, oh, it's like really good and all that. I really like the acting and all that. Like, everything's like, it kind of has like a thematic tone to it and all that because like with the like sort of like the sort of type of acting you get like from older films like at that time period. So. And Johnny Depp is really good at playing as Ed Wood and all that. I haven't seen Glenn or Glenda to actually, see how Ed Wood actually talks and all that. But like, to my mind, I think Ed Wood sounds like part of Johnny Depp and all that.
Like he done a good character study, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really enjoyed the acting too. It was like, to compare it to our last movie review, that acting was very much made in the 2010s. This one was made in 94.
Yeah, in the early 90s.
So it was like, it's still taken more seriously, but it really mimicked old Hollywood movies where there was a lot of time to breathe between sentences. So there wasn't really too much fast comedy bits. Yeah. Which I kind of enjoyed.
I like the pacing of the movie and all that, and like the story structure. It is like about over 2 hours long and all that. But it didn't feel like a minute was like wasted in the movie and all that. It felt like everything like, was made for the movie. Like every minute counted.
I would say I like the pacing too, but it was a kind of a long movie, like 2 hours and a half. It's pretty long. I love the intro. I remember like we talked about it while watching. I was like, that was a good intro to the movie. Like we knew who all the characters were right away. Like we didn't need too much explaining.
Yeah.
I really liked it. We knew where the story was gonna go.
It's like a pretty good setup and all that. This is Ed Wood. He wants to make movies and all that, but he's working at a backlog delivering plants.
Yes, and like this is his wife, and this is we get to show the power dynamics of that. He is going to the studio. The studios aren't calling him, you know. So there's like a power dynamic that's shown to us that he's like a starving artist.
Yeah,
which I kind of liked. It showed us who he was right away.
What do you think, like, from like the stories like you heard, like the actual like true stories about the movie? How do you feel like how they were portrayed in this movie and all that? Like,
I watched a few interviews of like, or just a few what's the word, like essays about him and his movies. So when I watched it fully with you, I was just like, oh, I like understand what he's doing, and I think they portrayed his philosophy of filmmaking very good. It was a little comical, like how fast he shot and how cheaply he shot.
Yeah.
But I really liked that they showed that. Like before I found out about Ed Wood, I didn't know other people filmed in that like Polaroid style of filmmaking, like that point and shoot.
Yeah, point and shoot.
Yeah. I really liked that it showed us that.
Yeah, it was like Ed Wood's portrayal and all that. I heard like from the commentaries, more try to make it like more a positive thing and all that, because like all the people who are like more villainous in like Ed Wood's life portrayed in the movie are more like the most like rational people there is. Like Ed, you gotta get the continuity right. We like do a retake. The gravestone like fell down and all that. And Ed is like, well, we get it done. We gotta keep going and all
like,
that.
We're already here. Like we could just spend another 2 minutes. but
it wasn't a long shot. It was like probably 30 seconds.
Yes. Like, we just have to put the cross back up or the tombstone back up.
Yeah, but I like how like Ed Wood's portrayal and all that. Like we're rooting for him instead. Like there's like questionable moments here and there and all that, but we're more in lines with like rooting for him and all that.
Yeah, you could see yourself in him, where it's a sense where in some shots you can tell that he was very naive and very like childish and creative, which was very like anyone could resonate with that like imagination, which I love those portrayals of him in the movie of like, I was like, oh, he's so naive, but it's like, and there could be a downfall to being that naive, but he used it as a strength, which I kind of loved that they showed that. It was showing him in a more positive light. Yeah,
more positive light and all that. But to me, like with the portrayal of events and all that from like what actually happened and what like what change appeared in the movie and all that, I wasn't like too bothered by it and all that. I say like if there were like, because some of them I like know there was like a few changes. Of it being a biopic, the changes did not upset me and all that. There wasn't like anything like too much missing like you could have looked into like when you're looking at this part of like Ed Wood's life and all that.
What was your favorite cast dynamic or like relationship? Like was it with his wife? Was it with Dracula? What was your favorite relationship?
I think it's like probably with Ed and Bella and all that, because it's sort of like these two guys are like helping each other out and all that. It's like Ed like he's getting Bella to work and all that, and Bella is like helping Ed's career to go up and all that, or down if you see it like that.
I thought that was cute. I thought it was like the heart of the movie was their relationship. Like he was like addicted, like run down, washed up was the word that they used in the movie, like a washed up actor.
Yeah.
So I think it was really cool to see like a young person go help him again and like show him movie magic again, and that was like his final days. I thought that was pretty sweet too.
Yeah.
That relationship carried throughout the film. But we still have like 30 minutes at the end where he's dead, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of propels like, I think we feel like it kind of propels Ed Wood's like trying to make the best of the best out there.
He's not doing it for himself no more. He's doing it for him.
Yeah. Well, he's technically doing it for himself because like he has to pay rents. But it's like, but the movie's more like focused on is like, we gotta get it like Bella's like last appearance.
Do you like the ending?
I like the ending, how it ended off and all that, but I liked how like it shows like the depressing part, like how they did like the titles and all that. I like how like it ended like more of a whimsical part of it, like Ed did it, he he did his magnum opus, and like he said the thing like, this is what I'll be remembered for. Probably he didn't actually say that and all that, but like if he said that in hindsight, he will be truly right and all that. I like the subtle details like throughout the movie where they're like, I predict this movie will be a box office success, and it's like, well, you gotta wait about like 3 decades for that to come true, and you'll probably be dead afterwards.
Right? It's like what you think you're gonna be remembered for is not what you're gonna be remembered for.
It's like you put a lot of work on something and you put a lot of work on something else. Yeah. And the thing you put less work on is somehow gets more like more reception, more remembered and all that. So there's like those lines here and there I like, but like I like how like it doesn't like with the ending, it doesn't just end with like, you know, them driving off and all that. It like, you know, shows up the intertitles like what happened afterwards and all. That's one of the changes I'm not too upset about, but I kind of get like, okay, in reality, there's probably like a lot of people showed up to it, but like probably didn't like it. Yeah. But we didn't hear their opinion at the end of the movie and all that.
Yes. I enjoyed the ending because it reminded us that this is a Hollywood story and that we're in Hollywood, and like it kind of wrapped it up over like, this is a fictionalized tale in a fictional town. I thought that showing a Hollywood sign at the end was like a sweet little touch, which I like.
They made it in a way that they didn't intend, but they somehow made it.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I would say like with the black and white cinematography, it's like it's really great and all that. Yeah. Like fits well with the movie and all that. Like off the top of my head, I think the black and white shots I didn't like was like when Bella and like Ed were like driving the car back to like driving Bella back home. I don't know. Something about that I didn't like. It's more like I think it's like the contrast with like Ed's like wearing like you know some white clothing and all. Well, he's not wearing white. He's like wearing the brown like or black like jacket and all that. But it's like a white car surrounded by like white grass. Like a slightly dark sky. That one was like I was bothered by, but everything else looked fantastic and all that. It really worked well with like the black and white like, you know, color style there and all that.
Yes, I really enjoyed, and I liked our like side female characters like Vampira, like her like she like floated around the movie. She wasn't like a main character, but she was in like good chunks of it. I loved her.
Yeah, she was a memorable side character and all of that.
And it really showed us like what year we were in. Like if she was popular at the time, we all know or remember the image of Vampira, so we're like, oh, if she was working, that means this movie was around the 60s, 70s, correct? Well, where it's based in?
Yeah, well, like this movie takes place mostly in the 50s and all that. I guess you could call that like Ed Wood's peak. What do you thought about the music of like this film and all that?
Oh, I think it was cool. You could tell it was like high production and like mimic. I wonder if they use actual music from like the 50s, or is it just new music mimicking like a vintage sound? But I think it fit very well.
Yeah, it fits very well and all that. There is a music composer credit and all that, so probably like, you know, they did most of the soundtrack is like newly made music and all that, but it fits very well with the movie. They didn't feel like out of place.
I didn't feel like throughout the movie that we were in 1990, or I think it was all like set design, everything was aesthetically good to mimic 50s and 60s. Yeah, I didn't get taken out.
Yeah, they did really well, like setting in the time period and all that of like of the entire movie.
Yeah, I could tell we were in Hollywood, 50s, 60s. Like I think it was really good in that aspect.
So, what would you give the rating?
I would give it a 4. I would give it a 4 because I think it was it accomplished what it set out to do, which was tell a biopic story, but make it fun, make it funny, make it relatable with a lot of heart. And I love the black and white feature. I think it was like it ticked off a lot of boxes to win an Academy Award.
For me, I'll give it the same rating, like 4 out of 5 stars and all that. It was like, this is a really great movie and all that.
Yeah, like it wasn't a bad movie. Would you rewatch it?
Probably, yeah. Like probably rewatch it more and all that. And this movie probably like I probably recommend to other people to watch it and all that. Like probably like the casual person who like goes checks out see the movie. I was like, oh, you should check out this one and all that. It's like really entertaining. But like probably like people who like really like, you know, are into like making films and all that probably will enjoy it a lot more and all that.
And it's really inspiring, I would assume, to like any director of like this is evidence that you can do it without a budget, and all the positive and negative aspects of it, because sometimes it'll look like it, but maybe it could like teach people like what not to do too.
Right, for your vision. So we had the Blu-ray release of the movie that we watched. Yeah, you can't see it in color of the nice blue, but then it's black and white in the cover. So what do you expect? Yeah, this is like, it has like some cool bonus features here and there. Like there's one feature where it talks about like, you know, the whole like getting Martin Landau playing as Bela Lugosi, getting him in makeup and all that. The one thing I heard is like from people who knew Bela Lugosi personally, they did not like his portrayal in the movie.
Aww.
It's more like he was like, Bella wouldn't curse like that. Like everything else was fine, but Bella's like like, you know, using curse words. He's like, no, he wouldn't do it like that.
He was too sophisticated, maybe.
Yeah, but the writers in the audio commentary and all that, they were like saying like, they point out in interviews like with Bela Lugosi, he would like curse like a sailor and all that, but like, you know, when he's like with other people, probably like, you know, present himself and then use like, you know, that language around like,
and
like his friends.
They probably didn't like the portrayal of like a hard drug addiction too. You know, that's not good for anyone to be depicted like that after they're dead, but well, it was a good character personality trait. Yeah, well, he was actually, you know, addicted to like morphine and all of that. And like he was actually like the whole like scene with him in the like press and all that, they're all at his like room and all that. That actually did happen, and he was the one to call the press because he thought like, oh, I could get my name out there and all that. People will know I'm still alive. Oh my god, not the calling the paparazzi. But like, yeah, that performance deserved an Oscar and all that. Yeah, it was really good. He played it like that tortured artist actor that like really believes in what they're doing and thinks it's impacting the world, and it did, but then like you're washed up and you're not valuable anymore to society, or we're made to feel, and it's like that kind of like artist spirit. He played it very well. I bet you a lot of old actors probably related to how he played it. Yeah. It's kind of interesting with the contrast between like Bela and Boris Karloff and all that, where they make the whole like point there in that one famous scene. I would so love to have a drink with Ed, or I would so love to hang out with him and see just to like hear how he is in conversation. I would have loved to do that. Yeah. Would you have wanted to hang out with him, or would you have been kind of like off-putting? I'd probably be off-putting if he starts drinking and all that. Right. If we were like, let's say in the same room, like if we had like a meet, I don't know where we'd be. Dentist's office, yeah. And we're like, I like weirdos, so I would have been like, I would have fell in love with Edward. So like if I was in the dentist's office with Edward, then that's probably an appropriate place to be. I was like, all right. Not if he was a dentist. No, like if we're waiting for a dentist appointment and all that. And like, and by coincidence, I was sitting next to Edward. Like, then yeah, I could probably like talk to him. But like, if I was at a bar, then I was like, yeah, no, I ain't gonna deal with that. True. I don't think it was overtly. The movie was overtly trying to tell us who Ed Wood was, but just from my knowledge of him, I was like, I would congratulate him because he like it said he worked with outcasts. He wasn't afraid of queer expression. He wasn't afraid of like alternative expressions. I think that for a director is like awesome. Like he was not afraid to like hang out with the outsiders. I think that was so cool, especially for the time and all that. Yeah, especially for the time. But I think like the funniest thing I read when I was doing research was that like it was like old New York Times article or New Yorker article where they interview Rudolph Gray, like Ed Wood's biographer, and they call Ed Wood a not too secret like cross-dresser and all that. So I guess it was like an open secret and all that. Like if you walk into Ed Wood's house, you 9 times out of 10 you probably see Ed Wood in like women's clothing. Yeah. And so it's probably like when he goes out in public, he doesn't like put them on and all that unless like he's directing a movie wearing them and all that. But still, like a shameless director, that's like what you want. You don't want like a uptight, conservative, like loser director. You want like a cool weirdo, not afraid to push boundaries director. I think that is really cool about Ed, I would say. Yeah, there's also the admirable part is there's like he actually, you know, did make movies and all that. He wasn't like he did like one movie and like went away. He tried to keep going at it and all that, and like having little success until like
he died like afterwards. He then like it was the whole retrospective thing and all that where there was some success afterwards with his movies and all that.
Yeah, and like he went to like, he even has, I think you have one of them, like he made movies but he didn't direct them himself, like he still wrote stuff.
Yeah, that's the Violent Years one.
Yeah, yeah, he has like an interesting career. Like,
he also wrote like adult books and all that.
Yes, and adult movies. That's so punk rock. Like, what the heck? I think that's so punk rock.
What was it? Oh yeah, Kill Me and Drag was one of them, and like there's like some other books titles I remember. I was like, what the hell is this?
Like, imagine like pitching your first movie. Like, I want to write a movie about the first sex change transvestite. Like, what the hell? That's so ballsy and so punk rock. Like, someone's like a regular person's like first movie would be like, I'll make a rom-com, or what's something like that, like a film student, their first movie, like generic. What do you think is?
I don't know. Probably like something like some. Let's see. What do film students direct?
Yeah.
That's kind of funny because I'm in college. It's like, what do we direct?
Like, what's like a generic like first movie? Like, is it just like a rom-com or something?
Let me try and remember. So like, let's see. There was like action, sci-fi, horror.
Horror is a good first movie directing endeavor because it's kind of easy. I would say, like, it's kind of easy to make bad.
Yeah, you just go for it, get a guy in a mask and a knife,
and like,
get some Kool-Aid,
a good pop-up scene.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh yeah, but I like the comment about like a whole like, you know, Ed's directing his first movie and all that because like technically it's like this movie doesn't acknowledge it, but I don't think like where else you're going to acknowledge it and all that. But like Ed Wood did direct a movie before Glenn or Glenda, but it was never finished. It was a Western film, and they canceled the movie. Like I think they shot about like 53 minutes of the movie.
Wow, that's a lot.
And they it's literally like, and it's like literally shows the early signs of Ed's like, you know, like
decisions,
resources, like being resourceful. He's like, oh, we need a coffin for this scene. We can't afford a coffin. The next day, Ed brings a cardboard box and calls it a coffin.
Oh my gosh,
that's a big exaggeration. The coffin was made out of cardboard, but it wasn't just like he ordered like a large package and it was like a cardboard box. So he's like,
I like that story. He wasn't afraid to be creative. Even if it didn't look good, at least he was trying.
Yeah, because when you watch Planetary from Outer Space, you can obviously see the mistakes in the wires and all that. But I think someone, like, I forgot where I read this one, but someone, like, mentioned that Ed didn't worry too much about showing how he was telling his story. He was more worried about telling his story.
Yes. I love that. That's so cool. Like, that's what, and when I first found out about him, that's what, like, inspired me, too. It's like, you may not have all the tools, but you have some tools in front of you. Use them, and maybe in the future you'll have access to big tools or big money, but just use what you have in front of you right now, because a lot of people are afraid to click that little red button on a camera, right?
Yeah.
Because they don't have all the money, they don't have all the resources.
We need this, we need that. It's like, you could just use whatever you have and all that.
Yeah, use what you got because you might have it later, and you gotta start somewhere, which I think is what's really cool about his story. But we didn't really get to see, because he died at like 50, we didn't really get to see like what would he have made if he had all the budget in the world, all the resources. But I guess that's everyone's story, know, right?
I don't think there's like another movie like he did where it's like there was like he was given a lot more money and all that, because like, you know, every film was not like a success at all.
Yeah,
and it's like his adult films didn't show that much either and all that. Christopher was in one of them, and he just like sits around and does the narration.
Oh my gosh. Not the God speaking character over porn.
No.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's kind of ironic to think like Ed died 2 years before his name will actually be more memorable and all that and all. From the documentary and all that, is like some of the actors mentioned that like Plan 9 was very was being shown on TV a lot and all that, like late night runs and all that, like whatever they had they just like showed it and all that. And like I think that's probably like from there that's where it got like some notoriety. It's like the people who've seen like the movies on TV and all that. And then it actually finally, like, you know, Ed found success like well, after he died and all that, but it's like there was the book called The Top 50 Worst Movies Ever Made, and it included Plan 9 from Outer Space. A year later, they published like the Golden Turkey Awards, and they're like, we held an election, and which was the worst movie of all time. And aside from the movie, you also have some Ed Wood Belia. That sounds terrible, just memorabilia. So we got Plan 9 from Outer Space on the Image Entertainment DVD release. This is just like the black and white version. There's the color version out there, which is like out of print, but like you can watch it free on YouTube. We also got the original Plan 9 from Outer Space script, apparently done by Malibu Comics, which is like a comic book company, and he did a comic adaptation of this movie.
Oh, cool!
Yeah.
I would love to see that art
1990,
style.
early 90s seems like to be the peak of Ed Wood's like fame and all that. You know, we got the book, like his autobiography. Then you got like the Tim Burton movie and all, and like at the time, some of the actors were still alive and all that. So you know they were there at conventions and all that. We also got, like we mentioned this before, and the Violent Years. We actually have 2 copies. Yes, 2 copies of the same movie. Something Weird Video and AGFA. The Girl Delinquent movie Ed Wood wrote, which I think the original script was titled Girl Terrorist.
Oh my god, I love that.
Yeah.
Beware of the girls.
The funny thing about this is that there's an audio commentary with, let me look at this, who it is. Frank Henlotter, the guy who directed Basket Case, and Rudolph Gray, both of them do an audio commentary on this movie and all that. And it's kind of funny listening to the audio commentary because, like, it is like a kind of a very slow-paced movie. Not sure if it was because of the script spot or like the director's fault and all that, but it's like because Ed didn't direct this movie and all that. Like I remember telling you this when we first met. It's like you could hear like Rudolph Gray just packing up his stuff before the movie ends.
Yeah.
And like Frank was like, "Are you leaving now?" And all that. He's like, "Oh, it all goes downhill from here and all that." Yeah.
Like all we got was a good intro.
Yeah, there's some like interesting points here and there and all that. There's also like the interesting bonus feature of that movie is that like of this Blu-ray release, it includes like 10 or 15 minutes of a movie that Ed Wood never finished, but like it's like another delinquent film that Ed apparently shot like 1 day or 2 days worth of footage, ran out of money, and like what he had left was like 10 minutes of footage.
He could have sold it to like a musical artist and been like, this is your music video now.
Maybe like that could have been the thing, like I don't know, the 60s, 70s and all that.
Yeah, it'd be cool, like a James Dean type of music video.
There is a music video on this one and all that, like the openings, the opening music and all that, where it plays over the credits. And as I was watching it yesterday, I was like, this is like some weird music video. It's like some lady dancing around and all that.
Yeah.
It looks like they did it like after they wrapped up filming for Ed Wood, like the movie, not like Plan 9 from Outer Space. It was like, all right, get the music video crew in. We're going to make this like artsy. What's that?
Romantic.
Expressionist, like a music video and all that. We're going to like also play clips of the movie. We're going to dance around, do a lot of fade-ins, fade-outs.
Yeah. a very 90s, a very 90s music video. Black and white, fades in, fades out.
Yeah. We're going to swish our arms around.
And have smoke in the air fades in.
Yeah. I want to also comment, like, in the audio commentary for this movie, it sounds like they were recorded separately because it says Tim Burton, few of the actors. I don't think Johnny's in that. Is in the audio commentary and all, like Johnny Depp. But I haven't finished the audio commentary. That's the thing. But I was like an hour 30 minutes into it, so I don't think he makes a 20-minute cameo at the end of the commentary. But it's like the writers and all that. But it sounds like they're recording it separately. The writers seems like they were in the same room, but like Burton, like Tim Burton, like the composer and like the other guys were like. Sounds like they recorded it separately, and like some guy was asking them questions like, "So, what do you think of the script? So, what do you do this? So." It's like merging it all together. You ever listen to audio commentaries like that where like it sounds like they recorded it separately?
No, I don't think I've ever heard an audio commentary of a movie. To be honest.
They're really great to like watch, like directors like commentary over the movies, like this shot we were doing this and all that. So overall, it's a pretty great movie and all that. Would you recommend it for other people to watch it?
Yeah, I would recommend anyone to watch it, especially if you're like a film buff or a film fan. I would pick this up on Blu-ray.
Yeah, I think it's only still available on Blu-ray and all that. Maybe like one day we get like 4K Blu-ray release with Ultra HD high definition with Dolby Atmos and what other stuff they put in. I think Dolby Atmos is like the audio part. Oh yeah, HDR10 like
Or you can watch it in 4D at the movie theater now.
where there's actually flying saucers all over the theater.
Oh my gosh! And it falls on you because it's on a string.
It will be like, so that's all the review.
Thank you for watching and joining us.
And later on,
Come
back to our video store.
Bye.